Fiona, thank you so much for joining me today to do this interview. I'm really looking forward to hearing all about your journey with the New You plan. Can you tell me how much weight you've lost with the New You plan so far?
I lost 36 pounds.
And how long did that take you?
That took me, I'm trying to think, I had 28 pounds lost in the first 5 weeks.
Very good. That's a lot, isn't it?
And then I went on holidays and I lost about another 6 when I came back. I put 1.5 pounds on when I was away, but and I was very strict really with what I ate and what I drank and stuff. And yeah, it was great because we went to France and we ate in a lot, so I was able to monitor my own food at night, which is
so it was a self-catering place, was it?
My friend, it was her mum's apartment, so we went out a lot, but the problem was that the food at night time, they didn't really cater for kids too well where we were, and my daughter's a kind of fussy eater, so we decided it was a lot easier to just cook at home, and then we went out afterwards. So it was great for me in that sense that I wasn't, you don't know what's on the stuff, and the menus are all French, so it was easier to just cook ourselves at home. So it was all salads and meat and fish and veg, so it was great.
Brilliant. You obviously did a very good job. How many dress sizes did you drop then?
I dropped 2 sizes. So I was very happy to be able to buy size 12 jeans in Pennies, which would be Primark in the UK, which I would never ever have dreamed of being able to do before. So that was, so I think it was at the end of August I had been shopping with my sister and I saw these beautiful pair of red skinny jeans and I was like, oh, I'd love to buy those. And I just didn't feel confident enough, and I was in the same shop 2 weeks ago and they were reduced to €5 and I thought, oh, I have to buy these. So I brought them home. I hung up and I was like, well, I won't. So I wore them last week. They're too big in the waist in the size 12.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I needed them on the hips, but they're too big in the waist and I was like, no. So that was a great boost to me that I was able to buy them in the size 12, and the fact that I got them for €5 was better.
That's a bargain indeed. But there is no better feeling than, like fitting into a pair of jeans, like, a size 12 or whatever size you want to be. It is the best feeling.
It is the best feeling, yeah. And I would never have been a skinny jeans person. I never wore skirts. I would have worn, my wardrobe would have been just dresses. It was a lot easier to dress my shape with just a dress, whereas now, like, I have pencil skirts. I'm wearing shorts with tights, which is something I never did.
Very good.
Yeah, so my wardrobe has been completely revamped. I threw out 5 bags of fat clothes, which are never coming back.
I think it's a good idea, whenever you do grow out of your clothes, to get rid of them, because it is telling yourself that you're never going back there. Whereas if you keep them, you kind of are admitting to yourself, like, oh, I might need these again.
A few pounds, it's okay, whereas I didn't allow that to happen.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you've got a whole new wardrobe, wearing, like skinny jeans and everything. I think you do like dressing up and going out, don't you?
Oh, I do, yeah. I mean, I generally would. Not every weekend, but I mean, I suppose from, like, while I was on the plan during the summer, I went out 2 nights with the girls and drank my pints and pints of fizzy water. And yeah, and it was grand. And then I suppose after that, then I kind of, once I had the 2.5 done off, and it was, new dresses and new this, and I was like, oh, you had to go out every weekend. So,
what other differences do you feel losing the weight has made to you, just generally about, like, your health or how you feel or anything like that?
I feel so much better, definitely. I mean, I would have found that I would have felt very sluggish. I mean, I think I spotted the New You on Facebook. Another friend of mine had liked your page back in February of this year.
Okay.
And it took me from February to the end of June. I was psyching myself up to go and do this, and I kind of told myself it was one summer of my life and just go for it. So I kind of literally had to clear the diary. I had a party on the 27th of June and went to that, and the photographs from it are just horrific. If you go through them on my Facebook page, you'll see the photographs of that party, and I'm like, oh my God. So that was a Saturday night, so I started on Monday morning and I had 10.5 pounds in the first week. And
wow.
I could even see it. Because I'm a tiny frame, I'm small on top, and I would have carried most of my weight kind of on my tummy, my bum, my hips, my thighs. That's where the majority of my weight was. So once I started to lose weight, it started to fly. It really, I mean, I had 17 pounds lost in the first 2 weeks, which was amazing. I was just,
goodness,
yeah,
that is very good. Indeed.
Yeah,
and really, yeah. So, why did you sort of start the diet? Were you feeling uncomfortable with yourself, or what made you come to this realization you wanted to lose weight?
Oh, it's been there. I mean, I think I've played with my weight for years and years, and I just thought, look, I have to do something, because I had hit 13 stone 3 pounds, and I knew that by September, if I kept going the way I was going to be 14 stone, and I just thought, no, I'm tiny, I'm only 5'2", so I was way overweight as I was, and I think a lot of people were shocked, like, that I've spoken to since, saying, God, Fiona, there's no way you were 13 stone. But I suppose if you know how to dress your body shape, you can carry it.
Yeah, you can hide it.
Yeah, and I was able to do that, and I would be the type of person that would put an effort into how I look every day going to work. So it's like, I'm either dressed up or I'm in my tracksuit, and go for what. And that I kind of don't. I haven't really got the casual look just yet, and I'm working on it. I'm getting there now that I'm slimmer. But before that, I always had to, really make an effort, and I think I was able to hide it. But then I just knew I wasn't happy, and it was getting, it was getting me down, and it's like a vicious circle. If you're depressed about your weight, you eat more, and you get more depressed, and you eat more, and it's just I had to make a decision to do it, and I made the decision. Ordered my stuff. I was actually, my friend ordered my first box, and we had been to IKEA, and when I came home, her husband handed me a box. He said, oh, this arrived for you today, and I said, oh yeah, that's my food for a week, and he looked at me as if I had 3 heads. But no, like, I must say that it came off quickly, and I found my first week was actually the easiest week. My second week was my hardest week, in that I think, I kind of got a cold sore and a tooth infection, and, I had back pain, but like after 2 or 3 days they all passed.
Yes.
Once I stood on the scales and I saw, 17 pounds at the end of 2 weeks, there was no stopping me. I went and I sat with the girls, my friends, having breakfast, and I was having my bar and my black tea, and they were having their poached eggs and their eggs Benedict and all the rest of it, and they're looking at me thinking, you're nuts. But for me, I had to do it,
Yeah.
So
I get emails, like every week from people telling me that they really want to lose weight, but they just can't get started. Would you have any tips that maybe you could give somebody that's feeling that way?
I think you have to take, on your first day, you have to set yourself a goal of your first meal, your water, and stage it out for the day. And then, it's definitely a case of on your very first day, do something that night, either, call to a friend, go for a walk, have your bath, go to bed early. I found I would have gone to bed early for a lot of my time, because it's just a case of, look, I'm not trying to think about the food. And I only have one child, and it wasn't too hard for me because I'm not cooking for a family. And, it was easy. Like, Ellie could have her dinner somewhere else, or she could, my mother would feed her or whatever, so I wasn't under pressure that way. But I just think every day, and it is hard when people have families and a lot of kids to put a dinner out for, and you're sitting there and you're starving. It's really hard. But I think once you get yourself through the first day, and it's like just getting through each day, and that's exactly what I did. And I think sometimes, I know not everybody is comfortable with telling their friends, but I'm the type of person that I knew if I told people, I couldn't fail. I had to keep it going. So, like, I had one very good friend who every morning would send me a text. It's enough.
Oh, very good.
Doing fantastic, you're doing brilliant, stay strong. And she was brilliant. She was like my motivator. Even though she tried it herself, and she was like, Fia, I don't know how you did it. I couldn't even last a day. But we are all different. But, one or two people that you feel you can confide in that will support you, as opposed to, how some people straight away will you start saying you're losing it. And I think a lot of the time it's because they can't do it themselves. That, they try. Some people can bring you down, but I think if you have one or two people that will help you on your journey, and be there for you, that you can, even though the website is fantastic, they're like that you need to send a text to somebody, or somebody texts you in the morning.
Yeah.
Before you get out of bed, it's like, it's feel good, and she sent me texts like, there's nothing more amazing than, feeling thin or looking thin, as opposed to, nothing tastes as good as that. And it is definitely, I think, a huge amount of you losing your weight. It's a psychological thing.
Oh, it is. It's definitely your mindset.
Yeah, once you get your head into the right zone, and it does take a few days, and the first few days, they are going to be your hardest. But like that, I just, set my mind up for it, and I just, every single day, and I must say that I would have spent probably 90% of my day online on your Secret Slimmers page.
It is very active. It's very, even from before, like now, it's a lot active than compared to whenever you were there.
I was growing every single day, and 3-4 times a day I was commenting on everybody else. I was putting in my own posts, and then I found there was a girl living quite close to me, so from that it was great, because I knew that Dolores was there, and we were able to message each other and that, and it was great. And I knew, she called into me, and like that, if I needed something, I wanted to ask her a question, or like one time I ran out of stuff, and she was able to give me stuff until my order came, which was great.
Dolores is lovely.
She's mad as a hatter, but she is so cute. She's really lovely, and she looks. I met her a few weeks ago now, and I hadn't seen her for a while, and she looks fantastic.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
she really
from her photographs, she's looking amazing.
She's really kept it. She's kept it off as well, and it is, it is hard when you come off and you think, oh my God, am I going to be able to do this? But it's just getting your mindset again into it. And like that, it's just saying to yourself, it was a journey to get to, for me to lose this 2.5, and I'm not finished yet. But, I'm never going to go back to where I was, because it's the feeling, like the unhealthy feeling that, you're tired, you're sluggish, and it's very hard. And like that, I'm, as I say, my zest for life is there, my confidence is back, I feel great. I know I look a lot better than I did before. The compliments, I mean, the amount of people that, I'd say the majority of the people from me that have joined this may not have gone onto the Secret Slimmers page, but I know there's at least 6 people who have started on the new. I got a message on Facebook from a girl asking me which products were the best ones to get, that she was starting it.
And what would you advise then if somebody asked you, what were the best products? What were your favourites?
Like I don't take shakes. Like my sister has done it now, and she's nearly lost 2 stone. And for her, the vanilla shake is what she would find the nicest one. And she found it, like, she'd put coffee into it and have it hot. And she's great for, she'd have that for breakfast, and she'd have it for in the afternoon, or she'd have, her hot meal in the afternoon and then have a shake at 8 o'clock. What I found the best to do was that initially when I started, I would have done, 9:30 breakfast, 1 o'clock lunch, and 6 o'clock. But I found that the nights were too long. So what I did then was that I'd get up and have maybe, have 2 pints of water in the morning, some black tea, and I wouldn't have, like, I don't start work till 10. So I would have had a bar for breakfast, and I'd bring my bar to work, and I'd have it at 12 o'clock with a black tea. And then on my lunch break, I might go for a walk and drink my water. And then at about 3:30 or 4, I'd have my second bar at work. Or even if I wasn't at work, I'd have it at home. And then I didn't have my dinner until 8 o'clock at night, so that I found that at 8 o'clock, I can have some tea after that and more water, and I was fine.
Good. Well, it's good that everybody can find a way, and the products that sort of suit their lifestyle. It is very flexible that way. I think so many people have their own routine, don't they?
They do, and I found, like, your choice of products was amazing. Like, for me, definitely, and I know probably it wouldn't be everybody's thing. I would have, after the first 3 weeks, I would have been having 3 bars every day. It was the only way I could do it, and I just felt it was still working for me. I was still losing my weight, and it's just that I loved the dinners. But I was during the summer, and if I wasn't at home, and I would be out an awful lot, that the bars were in my handbag, and then I couldn't go wrong. At least I had a bar, and I could have it.
Well, that's true. Like, we would recommend maybe people, only have 1 bar a day and the odd day 2. But if at the end of the day, if you're losing weight and taking the bars, you might as well, do what works for you.
Easier definitely than feel than to be feeling under pressure and thinking, oh my God, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it definitely worked. And it's not like, okay, I shouldn't be comparing them to a bar of chocolate, but it was like having a bar of chocolate. I mean,
they are very nice, aren't they?
Like that now. I mean, like my brother is doing this, and he needs to get his cholesterol down, so he started doing this, and like that now he's on bars and shakes, and he has his dinner in the evening.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, he was very happy with it now, and because I know he got another order last week. So it's like, when people can look at you and see the difference in you, then it's like they look at themselves and think, oh my God, I think I should try this. And as I said, I was just chatting to a girl in the shop last week, and she was telling me she'd lost weight, and she's getting married next year, and she needs to lose more weight. And I was telling her about the new you, and as I say, she messaged me today. I'm going to start it. What are my products? What products should I get?
Yeah.
Such variety there, and everybody's taste is different. So I said, look, get a mixed pack the first couple of times and see what you really like. Because it does down to what you really like, and you can just try your variation, because there's such a choice, which I found to be amazing, that, you don't think, like, when you're eating even the dinners, like the chili. For me, I used to love the chili, and I think, oh my God, it's like you didn't feel like you were eating something that was going to help you to lose weight. It really felt like it really felt like you were having, something good.
Proper, yeah. They do taste, yeah. And they do taste very good.
Oh yeah, they really do taste good, and I found them, I found it easy in that sense. And as I say, definitely it's your head. Once you get your head into the right zone, and tiny targets, stick to, for the first week, I think you have to do every day, and then you get your next target. And it's like the next weigh-in, as you say, it's like, think about the next day that you're going to step on the scales and the weight you're going to have lost, and it's amazing. And for me, I measured myself, and the inches, like I lost 34 inches and 36 pounds, and it was the inches off, like, my hips. Like, that would have been, it would have been my waist and my hips would have been my bigger area, and like, my waist now I've lost 5 inches off my waist.
Fantastic. That's brilliant.
Yeah, which was brilliant. I was thrilled to bits.
So how long have you been maintaining your 2.5 stone off now for?
I have 2.5 stone off officially since the end of August. So I have, near, I suppose about 10 or 11 weeks.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And you're finding it well?
I mean, I've probably played around with 2 or 3 pounds in the last few weeks. That it's kind of gone up and gone down. But I am finding now at the moment I have gone on to maybe having 2 bars a day and my dinner in the evening. I've cut out carbs. And there'll be the day that, I'll fancy having my breakfast and I'll have, scrambled eggs and mushrooms and tomatoes or something. But I'm trying not to have the bread.
Yeah, it's good to try to keep bread to a minimum, really. I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Like, I think it was Friday night now for dinner, I had some fillet steak and roasted veg. And like that now, I didn't have any carb with it, and it was fine because I roasted loads of vegetables. Now, I did put some sweet potato into it and turnip, which are probably the bulkier of the veg, but it filled me and it was fine.
Lovely, that's great. So what tips would you give anybody else that's coming to the end of their weight loss journey and they're approaching their maintenance stage like you were?
Definitely find some exercise. Like I started kettlebell classes in September, and I was going 3 times a week now. I've had to cut back as recession and all the rest of it. But it's a case of, I just think even if it's just walking, you definitely need to keep the exercise up to help, because like you're always going to play with a couple of pounds when you come off a diet and you're eating regularly again. But I think definitely if you plan your day, even day by day as opposed to week for the week, if you plan your meals, have a good solid breakfast that's going to be, that's going to fill you up until lunchtime. And definitely I found, like especially this time of year, soup is great at lunchtime, and just don't have the bread with the soup. Just have, and try and find, like for me, I try and go for soups that would have the chunkier veg in it as opposed to really pureed soup, or even making your own soup and freezing it or bringing it to work, and it's fantastic. And then dinner for me would generally be, there is the night I do have my rice or I'll have my pasta, and it happens because, it's only the 2 of us, so we might have dinner at my sister's and my mother's, and, I'll eat what's there for dinner. But then I'll find that I'm going to be good for the next few days. And I do still have my nights out at the weekend, and I do still have my drinks. And if I am going to have a carb, it probably is on a Sunday. And my salty food, would be on a Sunday after my night out. But like that, I'd be there on Sunday dying for something like my can of Coke. And it's like, I'm fine once I've done that on Sunday. And then, because you do still have to live with this. It's not like, you can have
yes.
And you have to be able to go out for dinner, and and that's like, we went out for dinner a couple of weeks ago for my birthday now, and it was tapas we had, and like, they're fine because they're much smaller portions. And when it came to dessert, there was 4 of us, so we ordered 2 desserts and we shared it between the 4, which, before I would have had starter, main course and dessert, whereas now I feel I don't need to because the hunger isn't there. Mm-hmm. Because I think, obviously my tummy has reduced in size, and it is, it took me ages to understand the concept that your stomach is a muscle, and, it will stretch if you keep feeding it, and there will always be room for more if you keep putting it in. So it's just a case of reducing your portion sizes, smaller plates, and not cooking huge amounts. Like to say you're putting on your pasta or whatever it is for the dinner, just put on just exactly what you should eat, and not and things like pasta and rice, you tend to, if it's not in a bag like the rice, you tend to throw loads into the pot and just cook it. And definitely I found that I would have always picked off Ellie's plate if she was finished for dinner, because it could be something totally different to mine, whereas now the minute we're finished I just throw it straight into the bin.
That's a good tip.
Yeah, definitely. I think, trying to plan your day, and always, like for me, I still have bars in the cupboard. So if I find that, I put up a pound or 2, and definitely I would weigh myself every Monday, just still to just keep an eye on it, because I think if you leave a month go by, and because you can slip back into your old habits if you're not conscious. And
definitely I would recommend that, if everybody to weigh themselves, when they get to maintenance once a week, it's so important.
Yeah, and even to have, one item of clothes that fits you perfectly, and it's something, or even, like the belt on your jeans. Like I was amazed, I was showing somebody one day, I went down 6 notches on my jeans, on my belt.
Oh my goodness.
And I had to make 2 new holes in it. And I know myself when and obviously look, certain times of the month your tummy is going to be a little bit bigger and it's going to bloat and you're going to move the notch on your belt. But as a general rule, that is how I keep track of it, is on my belt. I know when I'm putting things on, how like you take jeans out of the wash and you put them on, they're always a bit tighter, but I know by my belt after an hour on that day if it's the jeans or if it's my tummy. And I'm just conscious of things like that. And like as I say, I'm like everything I'm buying now, like I've had to buy a lot of new clothes because everything was too big. And I'm just, I'm conscious of my sizes, and I'm conscious of something fitting me correctly, as opposed to before I was buying things to kind of hide it, whereas now I want to show it off, so I'm making sure everything fits me. So when I try something on again and there's I could say, oh, that feels great, or that doesn't feel great, and then I'm conscious and I watch myself for the next few days, because this is a lifestyle change, and you have to be conscious of everything you do. And, it's not that you can't have your treats, or you can't have your night out, or you can't have your meal out, or, that you can't have your popcorn when you go to the cinema. You can do all those things again, but you just have to do everything in moderation. And you have to, give yourself the treats every now and again, but you also have to be aware, that you have to be good for a few days as well.
Yes, that's great. Great advice, totally. And it's great that you've been maintaining for nearly 3 months now, without, and enjoying life, like at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have been, and there have been the days where, I've had my pizza, or, like I said, I had a treat last week, but it was a Weight Watchers pizza. I'm still conscious when I go, and, I'm looking at it, and I'm not just going out and ordering the biggest, greasiest pizza you can find. I do love it, but I am being conscious that, okay, look, I am having the pizza, but it isn't the worst one that's there. And, you can make your own pizzas. I mean, there's so much that you can do, that you can make yourself. And because I was in the fitness club that I was in, they all had started this kind of clean eating, it was called. It's like a paleo, it goes back to the caveman. So,
oh yes, I've heard of that, yeah.
And it has been very successful now with some of the people that are there. And it literally is that you're conscious of everything you're eating, and you're conscious of everything that you're eating, and it's just that you're eating your meat, you're eating your veg, your fresh fish. That
it's all like unprocessed foods, really, isn't it? Yeah.
And that's I think it's the processed food is the worst part, because like you don't know what additives are in that, or sometimes there's things in those that can cause somebody's it can cause you to retain fluid, and you're adding up your weight as you're going along. Whereas if you're preparing everything yourself, and I know that's not always easy, and sometimes it's not always the cheapest way. And when you're cooking for a family, it can be hard. But there are ways of making your own sauces that are, you can keep an eye on the fat that's going into it, as opposed to buying your jar of sauces. And 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 I would not be the world's greatest cook by any means, but I really love chicken korma. So I was making a korma a couple of weeks ago, and my sister-in-law is an excellent cook, and I rang her. I was like, this has gone horribly wrong, it's really watery. She goes, did you put any almonds in? I was like, I don't have any. I'm going to be great with my little bit of curry powder, my paste, and my low-fat coconut milk. No, it tasted lovely. It was fine, but I'll eventually get it right. But like that, if you do have the time to make things and freeze them, even if it is, even if it is a little bit different from everybody else, but to have gone through the process of 5 weeks of the summer of, losing this weight, and then, to turn around and not to carry that on, because it is, you have to do it. I mean, I think, to have put yourself through everything psychologically for this diet, then you have to be able to keep that mindset.
Do you think that doing the diet really helped you to, change your mindset towards food then?
Absolutely. I mean, there are days where I do have a bad day and I do crave my sugar, and, I'll say, oh my God, I really need a piece of chocolate. But, I can stop at 2 squares of chocolate now, as opposed to before it was the bar. And like that, you do have to come to that compromise. And I know there are some people who can do things like this, and they can completely cut everything out of their diet and never go back, and that's amazing. But, I'm not one of those. I definitely would have, we all have bad days where you crave something, but if you can, keep it to a minimum. And again, it's about talking yourself out of stuff as opposed to talking yourself into it. And it's supposed of not seeking the comfort out of the fridge and the biscuit tin, which is so easy for all. I mean, I would definitely have been an emotional eater. And it's a case of now I'd send a friend a text, or I'd ring them, or I'd say, I need to talk about this because I really want to eat something. And that's just kind of how I do it. Or, I've taken up knitting. I mean, you may laugh at me now. My daughter wants to learn how to knit. So we're knitting.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so, I sit down at night time now, and, it's a cup of tea and the knitting needles, as opposed to coffee and a packet of biscuits. It's great, and you're sitting there and it's relaxed and it's simple. It doesn't matter what you're making, and it's not expensive. You can buy really cheap wool.
Yeah.
And it's just something, again, just to, keep you busy. I mean, I decluttered my wardrobe. A friend of mine came down and we reorganized the whole wardrobe one night. And as I say, 5 bags of clothes went out. And
oh my goodness.
I finished my room this morning now with just simple things like, the underwear drawers and that kind of stuff. I did it all this morning, and I'm decluttering as I go, coming up to Christmas. So it's like, new body, new mindset, and declutter the home. And, simple things like that. Take one room or one drawer at a night and say, I'm going to sort that out. Things you put off forever. You need the energy, and maybe you have the the courage to go and do it, things you've been putting off forever because, oh, I couldn't be bothered, I'm just tired, I'm going to sit down and watch TV. And I sit down with things that are recorded. I very rarely sit down and watch TV anymore.
So that's like me. I would always, everything Sky Plus, and then whenever I've got everything done, I can sit down and watch and relax.
Yeah, exactly. And I just find that, look, I'm definitely somebody who, I wouldn't relax a huge amount, but I definitely find I'm doing it now. I'm doing it a lot more now. I think before I was always on the go trying to avoid the issue which was there, which is the fact that I was overweight. You know, and like my BMI was 33 and it's now 27. Like, it's down to 24. Like, you know, I still have a stone and a half to go. But where I am right now, I'm happy at the moment, and you know I'll start my next stage in another bit.
Good for you. Well, I really am absolutely delighted that you took the time to speak with me today, and I'm sure that so many people that listen to this will get so many good tips and advice, because people do love to hear from other people that have done it.
Oh, it's definitely, look, as I say, the Secret Slimmers page is just amazing. I mean, the support from I mean, like Lisa probably was still on the Secret Slimmers page when I was there. I mean, it was, you know, it was you and I. Every time I rang, I was generally talking to Amy, which was amazing. And you've all been absolutely fantastic. And as you say, any questions, you get an answer straight away. You know, if you're unsure about anything, somebody always has an answer for you. And like some of the ladies that were on it when I was there were just brilliant. And you know, they'll send you messages and they just keep you motivated.
Yeah, it's good.
Definitely. I mean, for anybody who is considering it, it's definitely one of the better ones to consider because it's there. You know, you don't have your public way in for everybody to know. You know, it's none of that kind of stuff. It's, you know, you're doing it yourself, and you just have to believe in yourself that you can do it. And once you get to that point and you believe in yourself, then, you know, this journey gets easier.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Fiona. It was an absolute pleasure to speak with you today.
No bother. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.